Welcome back. More than 3,200 U.S. military installations put on high alert over an unspecified ISIS threat as our military works to prevent an attack on American soil. Also, ISIS calling for more attacks like those in Paris, Canada, and Australia. Now the U.S. is training forces in the Middle East to fight the terror army on its own turf. I spoke with General and former CIA Director David Petraeus, who knows the terrain very well, when I was at the SALT conference earlier this week in Las Vegas.
There's no question about it. They have lost ground steadily over the course of a number of months now. They certainly still have the capacity to carry out terrorist attacks in Baghdad, as they've done this week, to carry out limited offensive operations in areas that are still contested or under their control. But they have been steadily pushed back from Baghdad, pushed back all the way up to Tikrit. Eventually, Mosul will be cleared once again. And their lines of communication have been cut in the north. So again, in Iraq, this is progressing, and it's really more about, again, the political dynamics and about essentially, the deals, the bargains, if you will, that have to be struck to ensure that everyone has an incentive to support Iraq.
What do you think is most important for the U.S.'s role in that regard, to, in fact, keep ISIS on the run and degrade and destroy them?
Well, getting them on the run is the first step towards the ultimate defeat of ISIS. The main effort right now, the focus is in Iraq, although there are certainly attacks taking place every day against ISIS forces in places like Kobani and elsewhere, Raqqa in Syria. And over time, as the force there is developed and we can start to support it against ISIS, against the al-Qaeda affiliate Jabhat al-Nusra, again, that will begin to unfold as well.
Why has it been so difficult to gain that kind of traction in Syria?
Well, Syria has just a number of different issues. It is in one respect actually really a religious war. It is a war between Sunni and Shia, and it's a proxy war in some respects. The various Sunni states and the United States and the coalition are supporting one side. Iran and Lebanese Hezbollah are actually fighting on the ground and supporting the side of Bashar al-Assad. It's a terrible, terrible situation. Well over 220,000 Syrians have been killed to this date. Millions of them have been displaced outside the country, millions more displaced inside the country, and the damage to the infrastructure is horrific. It really now, I think, you have to wonder if Humpty Dumpty can be put back together again. And that's, I think, going to unfold in the months and years that lie ahead.
How important is U.S. leadership at this point in that region of the world? I was with the former prime minister recently of one of the Middle Eastern countries, small country, and he said to me, so many of my friends around the Middle East are wondering, where is America, this leading from behind? What's your sense of where America should be today?
Well, clearly American leadership is needed. It's vital. It's wanted. And actually, I think it is being provided. I think there has been an understandable reluctance in the wake of these very frustrating, very costly wars in Iraq and in Afghanistan and in some other engagements that we've had. And the pendulum perhaps swung a bit, but I think that pendulum has swung back. And I think there's very clear recognition that American leadership is not only needed, but that it has to be provided. And we are leading the coalition against ISIS in Iraq and in Syria. We are leading the effort to help establish the moderate ground force in Syria that we could then use to help in that fight against ISIS that's so very important. In fact, really, regardless of what outcome you want in Syria, one of those having to be, of course, defeating ISIS and presumably the al-Qaeda affiliate Jabhat al-Nusra, regardless of what outcome you want there, whether it's a negotiated settlement or whatever, you have to change the battlefield, the momentum on the battlefield, because people aren't going to go to the table if that's not done. And that requires the ground force, and it's good to see this finally beginning to get underway.
You're a national hero for all of us. What are your thoughts on the sentencing last week in terms of leaking classified information, General?
Well, I made a statement at the end of that. I apologize for letting people down. For causing pain, and I noted that I look forward to getting on with life in the private sector.
And let me get your take in terms of what's next for you. Last week you said you look forward to moving on now. What are your plans for the future?
Well, I've got a wonderful portfolio of activities. I'm a partner at the global investment firm KKR, where I chair the KKR Global Institute. We look at macroeconomic analysis, environmental, social, and governance issues, and then geopolitical risk. I have 3 academic appointments at the Honors College of the City University of New York, where I teach each week, a course, by the way, called The Coming North American Decades. I have a chair at USC, Southern California, where I spend a week per semester, and I'm a fellow at Harvard. I do some speaking, and then I support a number of veterans groups. So it's a very busy, and I'm delighted to be able to focus on it, and indeed to focus forward.
And thank you so much, General
My pleasure.
Petraeus.
Okay.
Honored to talk with you.